dark tunnel, there was some light. Traveling through it, got you saying this is some life. Can't count your words like singing on karaoke mics. You couldn't walk a mile in my blue nights. You could fall off the path and lose sight. Every day making my way to reach new heights. Can't do nothing about the circumstance of yesterday. Just preparing the road leading to a better way. Oh, sweet home is where you wanna stay. Protected from the madness of today. It don't make it no better when they threatening to take it all away. Bottle all my emotions up and throw it all away. I'm finna show them how we don't play. So don't be smiling in my face. Every day bloodlines being erased. For goodness sakes, so tell me, do you got what it takes?
I gotta keep moving. Get mad, understanding my way. Stay on the path. Never go astray. I gotta keep moving. Get mad, understanding my way. Stay on the path. Never go astray.
Follow the image of my descendants on the path that's continuous, never ending. Like a new beginning, consistently walking into the next. Shit that old, if it hinders the evolution, then let it go. We have the total control. Dictate what you say and where you go. The leaders of the next world, because this one is ending. Let's be real, no more pretending. Everything that okay, just sugarcoat it. You believe everything they say when you quote it. You learned it from school, now you think you know it. It's educated from the start. It will dismantle your mind apart. Leave you in the dark about who you are and where you're going. Existing in life, not never knowing. Your mind not growing. It's limited, real ignorant. Since birthday, been trying to put an end to it.
I gotta keep moving. Get mad, understanding my way. Stay on the path. Never go astray. I gotta keep moving.
Good evening. Welcome to High and Mighty Talks with the intellectual, myself, the intellectual Newman Minkari. This is High and Mighty Talks. Welcome. We're going to touch on a few topics tonight. I like to say greetings to everybody. I'm letting everybody come into the chat room, and the people are going to be asking questions. Keep in mind, I'm going to be focusing in on my questions. What I wanted to ask and just totally focus on. So one of my lovely wives will be taking the questions, and she'll shout them out to me because I don't have time to look at that. I'm just focused. I'm just like that. I'm just so focused on my questions and the topics I'm passionate about. Okay, but before I go any further, I have to start off in the name of Amen. By the power of Amen, and Amen we trust, and Amen we think, and in Amen we continue forward forever. Okay. Okay. All right. All right. Checking on topics. All right. Okay. I'm gonna be speaking on certain things because not to be the dead horse, not to be constantly focusing in on this, but it is necessary to focus on this. It is necessary to reiterate this, which is the terms, the names, Black and African American. I said, I'm going to speak about why those terms, Black and African American, are holding our people back. Those terms of Black and African American are holding our people back. Why is that? Because as I said before, and I'll say it again, Black is not a race. It is not an identity. It's not an ethnicity. It is nothing. It's not nothing. It's nothing based in culture. It is a terminology that was given to us by the Caucasian elites to label us as undesirables, people who would be deprived of the resources of America. Basically, the bottom of the barrel people, right? While we, or should I say, while they get to be classified as white, right? While they classify themselves as white, the Caucasian elites and all of those who they allow to classify themselves under the white umbrella, they also classify our people, who are the true indigenous people of this land, as Black people. People who would be the opposite end of the white people. And I don't understand why quote unquote so-called black people still play this game. You play this game with these Caucasians who gave you these titles such as black and African American. You allow them to pick out what your ethnicity is and tell you what it is or who it is you're going to be identified as. You're supposed to be identifying yourselves. We're supposed to be identifying ourselves, or it's at least supposed to come from somebody that look like us. Now, people will say, well, Jesse Jackson came with the African American thing. Let me get into this. No need to hide. There we go. Now we off to the races. Jesse Jackson used that term in the 80s, 88, something like that, the African American thing, right? Which did not come from Jesse Jackson. That came from his Caucasian handlers, right? Jesse Jackson didn't get the idea to call us African Americans. And even if Jesse Jackson did, that is not a correct identification of our people, because number one, American black people, so-called American black people, did not come from Africa. We are not Africans. I keep saying that. There's too much proof out there now to the fact that we're not Africans. And as far as this whole out of Africa theory, I already debunked that. I'm not even going to get into that tonight. I got too many other things I want to touch on in the time I got to touch on it. But that terminology does not apply to our people. That term African American does not apply, because people want to try to make it synonymous with Italian Americans, German Americans, French Americans, or whatever. They Native Americans. They want to make it somehow, well, not Native American, because they claim that native means that these people are native to this land, which I'm going to get on again. I got to reiterate this. But they try to make it seem like American so-called black people are a immigrant class or part of an immigrant class like everybody else, which is not true. This whole lie that we came from Africa on slave ships is just that one big lie that's constantly being debunked every day. More and more information is coming out about our origin here in America, and that we are actually native to America. But you got a lot of these pro-black idiots out here who still talking this nonsense about we African and we linking us to the so-called motherland. You know, the same pro-blacks who have not gone and got up and went back to Africa. I haven't heard none of these pro-blacks go back to Africa, or go to Africa who they claiming is so much better than here. Go back to Mama Africa, and they want us to claim this. Is Umar Johnson in Africa right now? What is Umar Johnson in Africa? Did he take an African name? The name that the person he keeps trying to invoke, the name he keeps trying to invoke, like Marcus Garvey. Did Marcus Garvey ever go to Africa or take an African name? No, he didn't, and neither did Umar Johnson. He ain't been to Africa. He don't have an African name, but he's trying to push Pan-Africanism to us. Why? Because he believes in this this ideology, which is nothing but a theory, that all life started in Africa. And I said that don't include our people. Our people are no more native to Africa than damn Chinese. Okay? Our people here, black people in America, are no more native to that than them. Now, when you taking on names that are not real, names like black, because I heard this guy talking about black-skinned people. I keep hearing this black-skinned people. There's no such thing as black-skinned people, and even if it was, we don't fit that. We don't fit that description. No, the description we fit is the 1828 definition, Merriam-Webster Dictionary of American. The copper-colored races who are the aboriginals of this land until the Europeans came over and took on the name American. That's who we are, the copper-colored races. Our skin is copper-colored. I keep saying that. Bronze, copper-colored, like pennies. That's been proven already that that's our description. So why the hell do they keep coming with this black thing? Why do they keep answering to black? Why do all these so-called pro-blacks, why do all of these, all these people running around calling themselves black, which was really meant to be a classification for people who would not receive any of the resources here. One minute you say that we African American, then you call us black people. That which don't make no sense. Who classifies people based on a continent? You say we come from West Africa, then you claim we African American, which is a lie. Call us black people. All right? Who does that? If this is a description of color, Why aren't Asians called yellow people? Why aren't Mexicans called brown people? If this black and white thing is dealing with color and skin color, why are these people not classified as that? Why are we classified as black and our skin is not even black? Why do we got so many idiots up here with this black nonsense trying to push this on our people? Because that's what they're trying to do. People, you know, there's a, and I hate to use the word conspiracy, but I'm going to go ahead and use it because I got to. There is a conspiracy to re-push black and African on our people. And if not African, black. It's certain people, certain powers that be that want us to stay black. Want us to stay black so that they can balance whiteness on our backs. Because what did I tell you? I said, there is no white without black. There can be no white without black. You see, there has to be an opposite. That's how superiority and inferiority works. There has to be a counter opposite. It's no fun being white if there's no black people to say, see, we not like those people. We're better than those people. And that was the whole feeling. We're going to deprive these black people, which is really another way of saying the natives, the ethnic people. We're going to deprive the natives, the real natives of this land, and give everybody else white status. And like I said, the Asians have white status. The East Indians have white status. The Latinos got white status. The only people that don't got white status is us. It's us. Some of your dark-skinned Africans from the East, some of them got white status. So again, this proves what I'm saying, because the guys like the Black Authority and these guys, they say that Asians and Latinos classify as white. This is what they got, Black Authority B1, which I'm gonna address this guy in a second. They say that these guys, these people identify as white. Well, question. If it's a skin color thing, how can they classify as white? If it's a skin color thing, if we got black skin, like I think you said, a black skin and white skin, which is no such thing. If you saying it's a skin color thing, then why is it that the Asians who are not Caucasian, who are not pale skin, white skin, why they get to classify as white? Why the East Indians, who definitely not, they got brown skin, why are they not called brown people right along with the Latinos? Why do they not classify as brown people if it's a color thing and we going by that black and white? Reason being is because it's not a color thing. It's not a color thing. It's a class thing. Black and white is a class thing. Black was just a system. Black and white was a system that the European colonizers came over here with and set up, so that they would be the beneficiaries of all American resources and things like that this land yielded. You know, resources that our people harvested out of this land, resources that our people grew on this land, and they came and took from our people by force, by gun, by murder, by disease, all these things, genocide in our people, so that they could take the resources from this land that our people harvested out of this land. Nobody else harvested any resources out of this land but our people, so-called black people. You know, the real copper-colored Americans, the real Americans. Look that up. There was no economy here in America until we built the economy. Tariq Nasheed was right about that. Shout out to him. Now to this guy, Black Authority, because he's one of these guys that push all this B1 black first and things like that. And again, I'm not tearing him down and whatnot, because I like some of his commentary. But the Jason Black guy. But he's always on this B1 and all this other stuff. But my thing is this, Jason Black, to you. Why is it that when people call into your cast other fellow black people who support you, why is it that you talk nasty to these people? Why do you talk greasy to these people? Why do you disrespect the very same black people that you claim that you be one with? That y'all all the same, that we all supposed to be, about our people. How are you about black people when you up here steady disrespecting black people that call on your phone and you disrespect them like a white man? Put your crack pipe down, all this crazy shit you say. Excuse my language. How do you disrespect black people then talk about B1? You out of your mind? You out of your mind? You disrespecting black people who support you. I called in on your broadcast one day and I wanted to ask you a question, and I was having technical difficulties with the phone because people, in the area, certain people, we just going to have technical difficulties. Remember, we are using mechanical devices that are faulty. I called in And you started with your crack pipe analogy, all this crack pipe. That's white people shit that white people say to so-called black, stereotypical white people stuff. Yeah, but you B1, right? You B1? You black first? Something that's not even real? Hell, you not even real. But I like your content nonetheless. I look over that until you start taking phone calls and you show who you really are and who you trying to sound like. You see? And again, I'm not saying don't listen to this guy. I'm not saying don't, but you know, as far as all this black talk, it always shows as what it is, a bunch of phoniness. Because when it comes time to show respect towards so-called black people that y'all claim to have so much respect for, guys like you, the Black Authority, which Jason Black, the Black Authority, and or whoever else, y'all, which I believe y'all all the same people. Y'all all the same people. You disrespecting so-called black people. So miss me with the B1 stuff. You don't even believe in B1 because it shows when your call is calling. And let me ask you this: why you still got that picture of Eldridge Cleaver up on your wall? Black Authority. That's a question I got for you. Why do you still got that picture of Eldridge Cleaver up on your wall after I told you over 10 years ago who Eldridge Cleaver was? And you sat up there and said, well, I got the picture up there because I thought it was cool. Eldridge Cleaver was a sellout, a coon, and a Sambo. Okay? He wrote a book called Soul on Ice where he was going on about how much he loved white women. You see? And how much he can stand black women. Look at his book, Soul on Ice from Eldridge Cleaver. So black B1, why would you put up this image of a person? Because you talked about all the sellouts and the Black Panthers. He was the biggest sellout, and you got his picture up as your avatar, whatever you call the thing, the picture you put up for yourself. You don't put your real picture up. You put up the picture of a sellout, a Sambo and a coon, one who lusting after white women. Make that make sense to me, B1, Mr. B1. Anyway, not to get on him, but I like some of his content. But hey, it is what it is. All right. I said that the term black and African American is holding us back simply because it comes from Caucasians. If a people want to be forward thinking and forward moving, and what they do, they have to come with their own identification. It has to be from us, from one of us. I don't count what Jesse Jackson did because, number one, Jesse Jackson, like I said, he used the term African American. We not African. We American. The only real Americans, the ethnic Americans, the only real ethnic Americans that, the only authentic Americans in this country that didn't come from any place else. The whole reason why they call us African Americans, and 1,000 go aheads, like I said, you make some excellent videos. I wish you come back out and make more videos. I don't know what happened to you, brother. I like your videos. You got Camario. I keep mispronouncing his name. Like his stuff. He made a good point. The reason why they call our people African Americans is because they want us to believe that we come from someplace else like them. And what right do Caucasians have to tell black people or anybody, so-called black people, to go back to Africa when they came from Europe? Y'all sit up here and let them get away with telling people to go back to Africa. They forget where they came from. That they're not native to this land. Hell, the so-called American Indians are not native to this land. The American Red Indians are not native to this land. The Red American, they crossed the Bering Straits and they came from Mongolia. That's already the fact that they keep trying to hide. They keep trying to hide the fact of their Asian background. And a lot of these Latinos, they're part of that same Mongoloid Indian, you know, where they crossed over to the Bering Straits. They part of that same voyage, or what's the word I'm looking for? That the word it escapes me right now. But they are part of that as well. You see, they are part of that same thing as well. You know, the migration. That's the word I was looking for. Migration. Your Latinos, except for your so-called black ones, you know, who are the real ethnics, your pale-skinned Latinos are Spanish. They're from Spain, and the other ones, they come from Asia. They're part of that migration from Mongolia into the Americas. where they found our people at the Olmecs, the Aztec, the Inca, and the Mayan. So we need to be focused on our ancestry there. Stop looking back to so-called Mama Africa for your ancestors. We ain't got no ancestors in Mama Africa. Our ancestors are here in America. You need to be talking about Father America. Our ancestors are here in America. The Olmecs, the Aztec, the Inca, the Mayan. Our people are here. Not in Israel. Not in Egypt. Not in all the... Yeah, our people did travel to those places. Yeah, our influences there. I'm not going to say we don't travel all over the world. But our home base, our foundational base is here in America, in this continent. Okay? And we wasn't brought over here from no Africa to serve in slavery. They just took the people that was already here walking around and enslaved them, put them in bondage. Took their guns, got together with the Mongoloid Indians, the Red Indians, and helped keep our people in bondage. All right. I talked about this thing of the ancient Americans of Africa versus the tribal Africans. Remember I said that a lot of African people, or so-called Africans, people got bent out of shape over me talking about the Africans, right? And I said the Africans, the ones who can grow hair, that could grow afros and braids and everything, those people are ancient Americans. You had a lot of ancient Americans, people who went from America, from the Americas into Africa, into Asia, into different places in the Middle East. Our people traveled from America, not the other way around. We didn't travel from Africa into America. We traveled from America into different parts of Africa, into different regions of the Middle East. We traveled all over the place from America. But keep this in mind, because a lot of the boats and things were found, a lot of boats and ships and things, they were found, and there's still stuff coming out about how our people sailed from America. Keep this in mind. How is it that we not selling from America, and we in America, we're the first people in America. We here for thousands of years, and one of the first people on this land in the southern regions of America, the central regions of America, and then eventually walking our ways into North America. How the hell we didn't get on any boats? How the hell we didn't build any boats? We built all these civilizations, all these pyramids, which was built by our people. It wasn't built by Mexicans of today. It was not built. Those pyramids in Mexico were built by ethnic Americans, by bronze copper colored people. They were not built by the Mexicans you see today, by the Latinos you see today. We're trying to claim Mayans. We're trying to claim Aztec. We're trying to claim the Inca. That's our people. That's our people. And too many people are trying to steal our heritage and culture. But that has to stop. That has to stop with us. Because again, forget what they talking about. Because they lying. They going to get with the Caucasians and lie about our heritage. But the ones who like Camario, the guy who's does the and he's a Latino, he does the breakdown of our people here in the Americas as the first natives. Like I said, you have certain people that tell the truth, but a lot of these people lie because they trying to save face, and they have joined in with the Caucasians, right? The Caucasians who want to hide our ethnicity, hide our culture, and hide our true heritage, hide our true roots, which is American, ethnic American, from our connection to our Mesoamerican ancestors. So next time you calling on those ancestors, call on the Mesoamerican or the American ancestors. We ain't got no African ancestors. So those people, like I said, they made their way into the Americas from sailing from America into Africa in different places. That's how we got all over the world. That's how we got there. You have some of our people in Europe, a little bit of everywhere. We were in Europe. We were in Asia. We were in Africa. We went all over the place. But our place, our chief place for our people who got afros and braids and stuff like that, those people are natives to America. The afro, the braids and all that, that's the people who are native to America. And you know it's America. Notice everybody wants to come here. Everybody wants to come into the Americas. You see, every culture, every race wanted to make their way into the Americas. You don't see people wanting to go to different parts of the area, to the other world, just like that. They may go to visit, but the mass majority of people want to come live here. Why? Because we set it up to make it so that people could come live here through our efforts, through our work, through our slave labor, which built the economy for all these other people to come here and enjoy the fruits of our labor, our people's labor, the copper-colored Americans, the bronze people, the real Americans, the ethnic Americans, they are enjoying the fruits of our labor. All right. I said I wanted to feed the thinkers and starve the believers, because I said when I said I came back on YouTube, I said I wanted to focus solely on the thinkers, not the believers. See, because the believers still believe in the beast. The believers still believe in the beast. They still believe they black people. They still believe they African Americans, no matter what you tell them. Remember I said in the last High and Mighty, there's no sense in talking to the believers, the people who already got it made up in their mind, who've already accepted and been thoroughly programmed by the beast to believe that we came from Africa, that our skin is black, that we came over on some transatlantic slave trade, which is a bunch of lies. Okay? They've already been trained to do that when all of the proof is out that we was not brought over from no Africa. We was already here. It made more sense than just enslave the people here and put brutality, the worst brutality, on these people who are native, because then you can get them to work for you, because they knew how to work the land. I told you our people were skilled labor. That's what made us so valuable. Cotton pickers are not valuable. You can get anybody to do that. You see, that cotton pickers, people doing manual labor, is not profitable. You see, you get anybody to do that. The more skilled the people are, the more valuable they are. That's why slavery was such a valuable commodity to get into, because we had a lot of skilled people here. And if you're being allowed by a corrupt government to sell these people on the market, to abuse these people, to basically upset their lives for profit, then, hey, you already know. Like I said, they took the opportunity to do that because they saw the profit in doing that to our people. There was no profit in doing that to the Africans. Because, like I said, the Africans, the couple of times they tried to bring Africans over, that was a disaster. Trying to bring Africans over into America, the tribal Africans, was a disaster. Okay, and we already know how the tribal Africans look. You got the ancient Americans who were in Africa, who got afros and braids and whatnot. Those people are natives to America. Then you got your ethnic Africans, your tribal Africans, who have the really dark skin. Their skin is damn near black, and they got the real thick, coarse hair that don't even really grow. That's your natives to Africa. That's your true natives to Africa, not us. Not us. Let me see. I wanted to talk on the ethnic, the real image of ethnic Americans versus the fake stereotypical black images that you see. You know, you wouldn't know it, but the reality of who our people are, as intelligent, as astute and logical people, as progressive people, you know, you wouldn't know that is who we truly are as a people. You look back in the 1800s, you look back at our people, and in the 1800s and the 1700s, things like that. You look at how our people worked, how our people, lived and things like that, the type of way they try to conduct themselves as respectable people, even with all this madness going on of racism and slavery from these people. You see, these damn foreigners that came here, and foreigners who they helped at one time, who then turn around and abuse these people who helped them. You look at their mentality, and like I said, what made them so, along with their skill, what made them so attractive to enslave was that these were civilized people. What the white man calls civilized. These were civilized people. These were people who wanted to just live their lives. They wanted to, prosper and do things. They wasn't savage people. They wasn't killers. They wasn't murderers and things like that. They wasn't the type of people who you can go, you go to sleep, and next thing you know, you wake up with your throat cut and things like that, like a lot of the Africans had done and would have did. We wasn't those kind of people. We were a progressive people, a prosperous people. In fact, the term, for the political party of Republican, you do know that the mass majority of our people were a part of the Republican Party, and the Caucasian races were Democrats. Just, showing you, because what is the Republican Party associated with? It's associated with progressiveness, conservatism, things like that. All the things that, now the black stereotypical propaganda machine says black people are not. You black people are basically liberal, you democratic, you for gay and lesbian rights, you for all of this degeneracy, you for everything, you for pregnant mothers, you for abortions, basically the degeneracy of what people tell you about. Okay? Because people created a stereotypical version of our people, the copper-colored races. They created this black stereotypical version of our people. When you look at a lot of those early films, like Birth of a Nation and all those films where you see black people eating damn watermelon and eating chicken and all kind of, and these white people putting on blackface, that's meant to be a program. See, because with the advent of film, they were trying to rewrite our image as a bunch of simple-minded, darky coon Sambos, right? Who are inferior to white folks, a bunch of Sambo, darky coons who scratching their head and sitting around and being shiftless and lazy. You calling a bunch of people shiftless and lazy, the same people who built this goddamn country economy. Yet while the real shiftless and lazy white people sat around and on plantations, screwing their damn sisters and daughters and all kind of other degenerate shit and raping the slaves. You see, that's what the shiftless, lazy, and degenerate people was doing who started this country. While our people were working, building this country by force, by having their children molested and harmed, because a lot of the things our people did, they did because of their children. They did because they was hoping for a better life for their children. They didn't want to just risk their lives and their children's lives and whatnot, and have not even just their lives, their children's lives. Because a lot of people had children. We had children. We loved our children. We didn't want to risk our children's lives. And the beast always, like I said, he always targets our children and our women. That's our Achilles heel. See, the men, we go out and fight. We'll go out, go out hard, go out rough, whatever. But the Achilles heel they always use for our people is our women and our children. Because we love, as ethnic American men, we love our women and children. But the black stereotypical thing is, you black male, you niggas don't love your children. You leave your children, you make all these babies, and you just leave your children and the mama on welfare and stuff like this. Well, who helped to facilitate that? Because you got a lot of people down doing bad in this country at the turn of the century and going into the 20s and things like that. You had a depression, and black people, so-called black people, just like everybody, needed relief, or what you call welfare today. And you told black people that they couldn't have black women, so-called black women, that they couldn't have men in the house to get relief or welfare when they needed that. But you didn't tell that to Caucasians. You didn't tell that to white people. You don't tell it to white people. You didn't tell it to Jewish people. Because Jews and Caucasians, they get a lot of welfare. They do. That's a fact. The main recipients of welfare today is Caucasian people. Right? But they still make it seem like black people are the face of it. And now with this boom of Latino Mexicans coming into this country, you're going to see the welfare roll swell, because a lot of those people are not going to be able to work. They're not going to be able to, find jobs, even though they're finding jobs for them. They're making a way for them. But in the meantime, between time, they're going to be recipients of the welfare system. They're going to be getting EBT cards. They're going to be getting WIC vouchers and whatever else they give you nowadays. They're going to be getting that. All the stuff they say black people just get. But it's been disproven that all the welfare go to white people. You see, that's part of the stereotypical lie. All you niggas are lazy, you on welfare, you just want to sit around. You got some people like that, you do. But you talking about back in the 60s and 70s, a few people that did that. But the mass majority of our people are hardworking people. We don't want to be on no damn welfare. We don't want to sit up here and take handouts from these Caucasians, from this government. When we don't want to do it, we want to work. Our people, the majority of our people, would rather work. We don't just leave our children. The whole process of getting our people, the men to leave, the women, was all about the whole, oh, you know, you can't get any help unless if it's a man in the house. You would have welfare workers come around looking in the closets of ethnic American people because they really didn't want to give you the welfare anyway. They was just looking for an excuse to take it away and to violate you. You see, you have to realize what's stereotypical here, like what you see in a whole lot of stereotypical coon sambo nonsense through the music, right? Through the music, through the TV and the movies. You have to realize what stereotypical things are being gave to our people, and you know, the Caucasian elites, they willing to pay a few people to act like Sambos. They willing to pay a few people, and you got a lot of people who are willing to take that pay. They willing to take it. All right. I want to give a shout out a little bit. In my last video, I'm gonna say this: my stomach was looking kind of bloated, and rightfully so. You know, I had to do one of these colon cleanses and whatnot. I'm on this right now, so my stomach is flattening out again. I was in bad need of a colon cleanse, and my stomach is flattening out. I just started this out, and it's starting to flatten out and whatnot. So for all you people that's talking about my stomach, yeah, I'm flattening out for the colon cleanse, and I love it. And it's rough on my system, but it is what it is. I want to have a flat stomach. Gotta go work out later. Y'all need to get y'all colon cleansed out too. Don't always think you gotta go to the damn where's the guy, a proctologist, or what was the guy who checks your prostate, I forget what they call it, guy to go out and check your prostate, right? Just keep your colon clean. A lot of times they try to get you. I think it's proctologist, if I'm not mistaken, the doctor that does the colon checks and whatnot. So, natural intelligence versus artificial intelligence. Okay. All right. Let me look at this. NI versus AI. You do know that a lot of the education that you get in the educational system is artificial intelligence. It's not natural intelligence. Natural intelligence comes by way of observation and discovery. That's what natural intelligence is. You build up a logical and rational comprehension of, you know, what things fit in order and what don't. Again, the educational system is driven by artificial intelligence. People who basically making up things. All right. People who basically making up things, creating curriculums, who are going around, you know, if you don't fit the curriculum or you don't answer within the scope of the curriculum, if you don't score within the scope of the curriculum that is being given to you, you're labeled as ignorant, uneducated, dumb, or whatever the case, or the negative derogatory things that you call, you know. But here's the thing. Who gave these people the authority? Who gave these people the authority to decide what real intelligence is, what real education is? Who gave the people this authority? Answer, they gave themselves the authority. And you know who else gives them the authority? You give them the authority. You can educate your own children. You can teach your own children. You can find, you know, if you're going to take up a skill or trade, you can find programs that can, you know, if you're going to go there and you can get a true skilled education, because that's really all education is supposed to be about, learning a skill, not sitting up here listening to a bunch of philosophy and psychology from these crazy ass Caucasians and their psychological nonsense, or their psychological you know, just their made up teachings, their made up curriculum. You give them license to be an authority over you as far as education go. Education is supposed to run parallel with intelligence, natural intelligence, because, you know, you teach people things that they're going to need. You teach people things that are going to be practical to them. So when you want to learn how to say be a carpenter, electrician, or plumber, or HVAC guy, or doctor, or anything, you really want to learn the ins and outs of that. You want to learn the technical application of said skill. You want to learn that. You don't want to sit here and learn a bunch of BS, a bunch of psychological, mind babble and a bunch of babble that you people go and get your degrees in. It's sad. I'm seeing a lot of so-called black people who are not getting any degrees in skilled professions. They're not becoming the doctors, the lawyers, the carpenters, the electricians, the agriculturalists. You see, y'all going to school for stupid stuff like black studies, African American studies, liberal arts, you see, or nonsense like that. Psychology, all this other stuff, early childhood development. Well, it's basically a bunch of nonsense where you got to get a degree from Caucasians, right? That's what you're going to school for. We got any questions? Taking questions. Let's see. So natural intelligence is what I'm doing right now. I am presenting scenarios to you and logically and rationally showing you why these things are not going to gel with us as we're going forward into the future. Like I said, African American and black, we got to let that go. We can't build no community on being black. Stop with this black community thing. I told you there's no such thing as a black community. There's no such thing as African American community. These are all made up things that make us believe we come from someplace else other than what we are. Because right now, and that's one of the things, your Caucasians, they have already hijacked the whole American Indian thing. When I say they hijacked the whole Red American Indian thing, they already hijacked that. What I mean by that is, if you look at a lot of these reservations, these so-called Native American reservations, you'll see a bunch of Caucasians living on that. A bunch of $5 pretendians who tied in with the Mongoloid Red Indians, mixed their seed, and now they sitting up here wearing their hair long and talking about they tribal chief leaders. These bunch of guys look like they don't come from damn Ireland. They talking about they damn tribal chief leaders and whatnot, and attaching themselves. So, this is why they always want to push the whole Native American or the American Indian philosophy here, the whole fake history of the American Indian or the Red Indian, because your Caucasians have tied in with it. Your $5 pretendians through the Dawes Act, they've already tied into it. And a lot of the recipients of these casinos and this grant money that's given every year to the so-called Native Americans, the so-called Red Indians, is really going to Caucasians who sitting up there laying up on the land, sitting up on the land on the reservations with them, on the res, as they say. That's fact. You can check that out. What else want to touch? Why we huh?
You finished your list?
Not yet. I'm almost done. I'm barreling through it. Why are we still playing the black and white game? A lot of you so-called black people we're still with this black and white thing. You only playing with yourself. Okay? The only ones that's winning from black and white is white. Why black people keep losing is y'all keep playing the game, man. It's a game. And when you play games, you get played. Why are y'all still sitting up here acting like your skin is black in 2022? Why are you still sitting up here acting like if there's a such thing as a black race of people? Why are you still sitting up here playing this game with yourself?
Got a question already.
God, what's the question?
Did the Bantu people migrate from America to Africa?
The Bantu people? Yeah, those would be ancient Americans. They grew up. Let me tell you something. Whenever you see our people on certain islands and things like that, our people is traveling all over the continent. When you see bronze people, copper-colored people with afros and braids in Africa, they not African. I'm going to just say it like that. They not African. Like my man Thousand Go ahead said, they ain't African. You see? Like Joe Biden, you ain't black. You see, you ain't African. Anybody that got afros and braids, who can grow afros and braids, that who in Africa, who got all type of phenotype and genotype, they're not African. You already know how the real Africans look. It ain't hard to spot a real African. A lot of those people are ancient Americans. Again, our people traveled from America outward. So yeah, the Bantu people. Notice how we like the Bantu knots and stuff like that. Like I said, those are all. Matter of fact, you could look and on the walls in the Bonney Park and a lot of Mayan sculptures, you see women wearing Bantu knots in ancient America. So yeah, the Bantu people did come from America, obviously, if they got hair, because Africans don't even grow hair. Africans, tribal native Africans do not grow hair. You see, not at all. You see how they got their hair is too dry because they in that heat, they in that climate where it's a lot of heat and they don't have access to a whole lot of water, because the ability to have your hair grow like that, that's from water, being around water in lush areas. A lot of the African is like Africa is like scorched earth and like you in the damn desert somewhere, a lot of that stuff. You see? That's why a lot of Africans, like I said, the real Africans, the tribal Africans, they got that look to them like Shaka Zulu and all them other people. They have that black purple look to them, and they don't grow no damn hair. The men or the women. Okay? So if you see people over there that look like us and they got our hair, then that 10 times out of 10, that's our people, man. Let me see. Do all American immigrants of today benefit from so-called, quote-unquote, black slave labor, or as I call it, American slave labor? And there's no African slave labor. There's American. There is Aboriginal American slave labor or original American slave labor. Yeah, everybody that comes here into America, who came into America from the Caucasians, who came from Europe, the white people, the Caucasians who came from Europe, the Asian people, the Mongoloid Indians, the Latinos, everybody that came into America, that's come into America, who are able to get benefits here in America, they are doing so off of our backs. You do know that the economy was built off of slave labor. Everybody seems to keep forgetting that. The economy in America was built off of slave labor, nothing else. You see, they even admitted it. The Caucasian, the ones, and I forget, South Carolina, one of these back in slavery, they said that the economy of the South is slavery. And if the economy started in the South and made its way up to the North, then that means the economy of the South is slavery and the economy of the North was slavery. Because you have people who was on slave plantations in the North. George Washington, one of your so-called founding fathers, he had slaves from the Washita Nation. He had slaves from the Washita Nation, upstate New York, in his Mount Vernon estate, which is where he gets the name Washington from. Why don't talk about that in so-called black history? That George Washington, that's not even his real name. His real name is George Wessington. And he took his name and amalgamated and married it in with the real natives of this land, the Washita, which are copper-colored people, so-called black, which Denzel Washington's people are connected to. He's one of those people. He's from the Washita. I told you that. Denzel Washington is from the Washita tribe, which is part of the Mayans and the Aztec. All these tribes, what I'm keep talking about, they use terms like Indian, which is really another way of saying indigenous. Indian is just another way of saying indigenous. They use terminologies like this, because these people are break-offs and offshoots of the Aztecs who came over here from the South and Central America, the first people into North America. The Aztec and the Mayans came over here in droves. They've been coming over here into North America. Before the white man came from Europe, the fake Americans, before the other fake Americans came here who call themselves Americans, but yet they turn around and call the only real Americans Africans. Get out of here, man. Y'all, the hell with what they don't like or the truth coming out. Y'all need to wake up to this. That's what I'm doing this for. I don't care to be, have any conjecture from anybody who's not our people. You see, I don't care about conjecture from anybody else because they're going to lie regardless. I don't even have an argument with other races of people about who the real natives of this land are, who the real ethnics of this land is. the indigenous people. I don't even have that conversation with them because they only gonna lie. They only gonna tell lies. I got proof on my side. And for you so-called pro-blacks who want to be African so much, like this clown that was up here, this guy, some dread-headed coon who want to call himself being an African, who want to call himself debunking the fact that all people are the true Native Americans of this land, the true ethnic Americans of this land. I use that term ethnic, you know, because I don't want to be aligned with the so-called Red Indians. They're not our people. And in fact, a lot of them, they copied pretty much all of our traditions and customs from the which comes from the Mayans, because all the feathers in the head, the feathers in the hair, the bows and arrows and all that, that's Mayan culture. That's all Mayan culture. That's originally Mayan culture. And Aztec culture. That's our culture. You see, that can be proven. So I don't know why the hell the truth bothers so many people. Why they want to keep tying us back to Africa when we're not African. We don't originate from Africa. We don't go back to that all life started in Africa. That's nothing but a theory of Caucasians. That's a lie. And that's been already debunked. I already debunked this whole out of Africa theory. So why y'all still feel like you got to be tied to this African thing? And like I said, a lot of you Pan-Africanists, y'all phony because you ain't going to go live in Africa. You phony. You're not going to go pick up and live in Africa. You talking all that African stuff from over here in America, like your boy Ritomi. Ritomi, that guy that was on damn Power. You talking all that stuff about Africa. Oh, you could breathe in the air and it's just so crisp and clean. He's supposed to be Nigerian, but he over here saying that. And Ritomi, you're not even African. You're not even African. You grow hair. You look like some of the Mesoamericans. That's probably why you want to be in Atlanta so much. You want to be an American nigga because you're not African, Ritomi. Just because your people in Nigeria don't make you African. You ain't no real African. If you was, you'd be in Africa with the rest of the fake, and you should buy a ticket with the rest of the pro-black Pan-Africans, fake Africans who ain't gonna never set foot in Africa, but want to talk all this Pan-African crap from over here safely in America. All right. Yeah. So all immigrants that came here into America have our people to thank. You know, the real Americans, the copper-colored Americans, the copper-colored races, the real Americans. A word that comes from the Mayans people, our people, who had all their settlements in the South and down South, things like that. The Mayans were set up all in the South. That's how we got down South. Mississippi, Georgia, North Carolina, you finding mound cities everywhere. It's coming up all over the place. You talking about millions of people here. The Olmecs and not the Olmecs, but the Mayans and the Aztec people came into America. And a lot of our people stayed behind in the South. All right. Why must we create our own world within this third dimensional state? We have to create our own world, meaning our own culture, our own ethnicity, our own community, because we keep on leaning on what's going on in this current space, in this current world, in this three-dimensional realm. We keep on trying to tie into what's going on here and see like how the Jewish people do. The Jewish people, they've created their own world, man. You look at them in their communities and you see how, they basically dealing with the dollar in their community, their economy. They dealing with their lives. They living their lives as a community. They don't really deal with things on the outside of their community unless it's business. So, okay, what's the question? Let me finish my thought. Okay. The so-called Jewish community, they build a community for themselves. They stay amongst themselves. They have a camaraderie amongst themselves. The men respect each other. The women respect each other. And even if there's some kind of, disrespect, any kind of real funk, any energy between them, they keep it amongst them. They don't let it go all out all over the place. They stay on code, as y'all say. They stay in alignment with each other. That's what our people must do once we come out of that whole program of blackness. See, we can be like that once we dump the black thing. Once we dump the whole African American thing, then we can stand up and be who we really are as ethnic Americans. All that black talk, I'm telling you, anybody that's with this black talk, B1, all that black talk, don't trust them. Don't trust them.
You watching the time?
Yeah, I'm watching. What's next? What's the question?
Your movement. Is the movement of our people natural design to find? I guess you kind of worded it wrong. Is the movement of our people a natural design to find the best location to thrive on the planet?
Is the movement of our people say it again?
A natural design to find the best location to thrive on the planet.
The best location to thrive on the planet is here in America. Mm-hmm. That's the best location. Where we at? And then this what kills me about a lot of you people. Y'all sit up here and talking about going to Africa. Huh? Okay. All right. Well, the place to thrive is where we are in America. This is the place to thrive. We American. Why the hell we gonna get up and go any place else? Why the hell are y'all getting up and going to Africa and y'all not even African? You act like it's not racism in Africa. You Pan-Africanist. You act like it ain't no racism in Africa. You act like the white man ain't got his foot on the Africans' necks over there, or the Asians ain't over there doing what they doing over there, colonizing their area. Y'all act like y'all gonna go to Africa and it's just gonna be, oh, it's just black people. And then you got some negative ass Africans over there that don't want you coming over there. How the hell you gonna let these people chase you out of your country? So what if it's damn police brutality? So what if it's racism here? What part of the planet? What part of the planet you gonna find where there is no racism? And whether it's white people hating on you, whether it's so-called black people hating on you, Asian, whatever, you gonna find racism wherever you gonna go. So what? The place to thrive is here because we are Americans. We are ethnic Americans. We are the indigenous people of this land. This is our land. Don't let people trick us out of our land. Like your boy Ratoni, who trying to act like an American nigga. Oh, I know. I'll get to it. I want to finish off everything. I'm hot for that. I want to get all of this out. Why do we logically need a community and a leader? Because I hear a lot of you so-called pro-blacks always saying we don't need no leader. We don't need to come together. We don't need no leader. Why do you think you got so many lost people out here in the world? Why you think you got so many young black, so-called black men? Why do you think you got so many so-called black men and black women out here who lost? Who have no direction in their life, who getting into trouble, committing crimes, selling drugs, joining gangs, because they're looking for leadership. They're looking for direction. So when you don't have the right direction to follow, you don't have people that's directing you in the right path as a collective, as a community, then you're going to follow a bunch of negative people. People by nature are looking to be led. People by nature, you so-called, oh, we don't need our own leader. Yeah, you do, because you so-called people who saying that, what are you doing for yourselves? I don't see black people. Because again, if you're a so-called leader, that means you know where you're supposed to go. You know where you're supposed to be. You know what you're supposed to be doing as a people. Why do we have so many people amongst our people who are losing out here in the world, who getting locked up, who going to jail, who going through the things they're going through in society, who are directionless, who looking for something to align themselves with? Why are so many of our people doing bad? Answer: because there's no leadership. When you see the Caucasians, the Latinos, and all these other people, Asians, when you see them, prospering and being in their community and doing well and whatnot, when you see them prospering, they're able to do that because they have leadership. They have communities. They have real communities. I told you there's no such thing as a black community. These people have real communities. They have real community leaders. One guy was up here talking. One guy who had something racist happen to him at the hands of the Caucasian police, and he was like, well, he said, where are our community leaders? He said, why is this happening? Where are our community leaders? Community leaders? I thought you said we didn't need no leaders. You're looking for community leaders when something happened to you, but then when nothing going on, we don't need no leaders on my own, God, till something happened to you. Then you're looking to mobilize. You're looking to see who you could go to and talk to. You're looking for direction. Who provides direction but leaders? You have one of the best leaders that this country ever saw, so-called black man. Really, I don't even call him a black man, an ethnic American man, one of the best ethnic American leaders this country ever saw, the Honorable Elijah Muhammad. And what did y'all do? You don't put the Honorable Elijah Muhammad up on the pedestal. You don't look to him for all the lives he changed, all the lives he saved, all the people he cleaned up off of drugs, all the women he cleaned up off of prostitution. You don't look at the man for doing that. What you remember him for was some sellouts said. Malcolm X talking about him and some women. So what? That's what you sit up here and remember. You don't honor the Honorable Elijah Muhammad. You'll honor the notorious B.I.G. before you honor the Honorable Elijah Muhammad. You know, one person actually did something for our people, cleaned up our people, labored and gave his life to clean up our people. And the other nigga, all he did was talk about death and destruction amongst our people. But yet you honor him. You honor him, and then you wonder why black people messed up. You wonder why people take advantage of so-called black people. You wonder why black people are disrespected. Look at who you honor. Look who you put up on a pedestal. People who did talk about nothing, people who are about nothing but negativity and chaos and confusion and promote that madness. And y'all sitting up here giving coin to these people, wanting to name streets after these people. People who did nothing but talk about our destruction. Well, hell, you might as well honor, you niggas might as well keep up the damn Confederate flag. You might as well honor George Washington. You might as well. If you honoring the notorious B.I.G., they both talked about the slaughter of our people. Don't miss me with it because he black. He different from them. No.
I don't think I made the question how to make our people whole again.
Yeah, I'll get it.
No, someone put it in the comments, so that's why I mentioned it.
How do we make our people whole again?
Yeah, I mentioned it.
By being a community, by forming a real community. By leaving blackness behind, by leaving African Americanism behind and forming a real community. Like what we're doing right here. As this real community, as this American Republic, forming a real community, an ethnic American community. That's how you make our people whole again. And you apply laws and you apply statutes of which we're going to follow to be part of this community. That's how you do that. You have expectations and you have laws and orders for the men and women to follow in order to produce families and have good children. That's how you do that. Productive children. You make productive people and you set up laws and orders for them to follow. You know how like the Jews got their laws and orders, the laws and orders they follow within their community. We need the same thing. Hell, we had that first at one point in time. We had a code of conduct, but now all of a sudden it's do whatever you want to do as thy will. You know, YOLO, you only live once. Then when you got that mentality, you go out here in the world. Then when the beasts blow you away, or they kill you, or they disregard you and treat you like trash, treat you like garbage, you wonder why. You see, if people are respected by the code of conduct that they follow, if people are respected by the law and order that they follow, the government shouldn't have to be policing your people. You should be policing your own people, but as a community with law and order. You see, the government has to police so-called black people because black people don't think they need no community. They don't think they need no leadership. But I see our people dying off. I see our people being killed off. I see our people, babies being murdered at the hands of abortion doctors. And that screams of people who need some leadership, need some guidance so they can stop hurting themselves. I'm almost done. Yeah. All right. I said the Caucasians have absorbed so-called American Indian culture. They the new Indians. You look at how George Washington was looking on the quarter, and on the other side, I think was Harriet Tubman. George Washington had a damn ponytail like he was Native American. They trying to make him look like a Native American. Because that's really, they really want to push white people, Caucasian people. Let me just say, they really want to push Caucasian people as the face of America. And they want to wipe out anybody who's around that are the real faces. That's why they don't like our people. That's why they hate, quote unquote, so-called black people. The terminology black people screams wipe out, erase their heritage, their culture, erase, Negro, black. That screams, ethnic cleansing. Calling our people black is a form of ethnic cleansing. Because we were originally those copper-colored Americans. What happened to that? Then we went from copper-colored to colored. Then we became Negroes and black. And this did happen by force. You do know that, right? But by the name, a Caucasian male by the name of Charles Plecker, who worked with a lot of other people to basically relabel us as Negroes and African Americans and black. Okay? That was a program to get us to accept that whole black thing. When James Brown was pushing that say it loud and I'm black and I'm proud, that was a program, man. I'm going to get into that another time. That was really meant to be a program. All right. Why we can't trust black people who are motivated by money. Let me tell you something. A lot of these people who claim that they have our best interests at heart, a lot of these pro-blacks, a lot of these people are motivated by money, man. Even these people that's chasing the reparation thing. I'm not saying it's wrong to get reparations. We definitely deserve reparations. Yes, we do. Not for racism, but for the labor that our people put in the pain and suffering, but especially the labor. Our people put in 300 plus years of labor. Yet we don't get no reparation. The descendants of the slaves, of the ethnic Americans, the copper-colored people who were forced into bondage, who had their land taken from them, who had their resources taken from them, who had their dignity taken from them. These people don't deserve reparations. Our tax money shouldn't go to them, but our money goes to Native Americans. Our tax money went to people that were interred in camps, and Asians who were in camps. They got reparations. People who had nothing to do or had nothing, nobody was impacted on the level as we had. Those people got reparations and still get reparations. I don't want my tax money to go into giving no reparations to no Mongoloid Red Indians. I don't, because they owned our people too. So some of those casinos need to come up off of some of them casinos in that land, because they was owning our people too. A lot of these tribes, they know the tribes that owned our people. You see, because the white man allowed them to own slaves, the real ethnic American people. They allowed them to own the real people, and they also participate in this racism of calling our people African and telling us we need to go back to Africa. The Red Indians are doing the same thing. So what were the Red Indians actually given casinos and reservations for? They were rewarded for helping the so-called white man keep slavery, or help, keep the slaves, or help them with the slaves, because whenever slaves would run away, a lot of your Red Indian tribes was bringing them back. They was getting money to bring back and capture slaves who ran into their so-called Indian territory, which no longer really exists. But let me see. I think I done covered everything. I'm about to wrap it up in a second. Let me see. There's something else I wanted to touch on. I wanted to make this the last thing I say before I close this out. Last thing for this High and Mighty Talks. Hold on. I had it at the top of I'm in Facebook jail. I call myself responding to some idiot on my timeline. I'm never going to do that again. I just block people. I'm not going to sit up here and do that. I'm not going to sit up here and do that. Huh? Yeah, it's on my profile. I hit all the points of what you were saying here. Maybe I might save this for the next time. I said, I'll just save it for the next time. I'll be talking about why Islam, Christianity, and the whole Israelite thing don't work for our people. It don't. Because I had this guy up here. Matter of fact, that's the guy I was talking to. He had an attitude because I made that post about how the Israelite, Islam, and Christianity don't work for our people. None of this religious belief or belief in God and the devil, none of that works for our people. I did a broadcast last night. Should we be calling on the Lord, or should we be calling on God? I said we should be calling on the Lord, because the Lord represents law and order, and God is just some delusional creation of Caucasians and whatnot to keep religion in the minds of the people and control the people through that. But I'll talk on that in the next High and Mighty Talks. That's it. I'm going to close out in the name of Amen, by the power of Amen. Amen we trust, and Amen we thank, and in Amen we continue forward forever. See you next time. Subscribe to the High and Mighty Talks, and also subscribe to my Mental Patreon account. There's a lot of good material in this stuff I can't say on YouTube, but God damn it, I say it on Mental Patreon. Trust me. That's it. Good night.